Shalom once again. This is part two, giving honor and praise unto the creator and the maker of heaven and earth. This is part two entitled The Color Game. Now this right here we see is Persia, right? As you keep on going up and around. This is from an atlas that I got actually from a store in Syene. This is now what they would like to beginning of what they call continental Africa. If you keep on going further south, you get to what is commonly then called Ethiopia. Now Persia is Iran. Now we showed in part one, brothers and sisters, how the people in Persia looked. So that way we can gain an understanding, not to be redundant, but so that way we can see a map and a people whose pictures is there, so that way we can gain understanding of what in the world we're talking about. These are the people that lived here. These people lived here. And so that way people can gain understanding of what's being spoken about. This is from the Palace of Susa as stated, right? Picture above. This is dated the Achaemenid King Darius of Susa, 522 to 486 BCE. Now, that's the same Darius, not trying to be funny, brothers and sisters, is the same Darius who ruled in Egypt, right? During what they like to call Egypt's 27th dynasty. All right, so that way we can gain understanding concerning that kind of matter as well. Now, I wanted to sit there and go over another particular thing because so that way we can gain understanding of what in the world that we're talking about. This right here, as stated, is what we will call continental Africa, okay? Egypt, Sudan, Ethiopia, Yemen, and Oman. Remember this here being Saudi Arabia. Remember we was going over in the other book about how they did not make a distinction between what they would call the motherland and the colonies because the Cushites were all over there. In actuality, even the Bible will tell you that the land that we call over here, this right here, being ancient Babylon, was started by the people of the Ethiopians, by Nimrod. You understand? So the Sumerian people were very also acquainted with the people that we are speaking and reading of right here. But unfortunately, what many people unfortunately have done is that they've given a European version of it by saying, oh no, everybody that is south of the country of the colonized land of Egypt had to be black and everybody else was either Arab or Caucasian. Actually, absolutely incorrect. Then that actually backfires because the ancient Arabs were recorded by many as being black themselves. Now, getting back into the subject matter we're speaking of, let's look at this picture once again. This here is a picture speaking and showing people of Cush and Egyptians inside of an Egyptian wall. All right? And we already went over this picture right here of the Israelite friend, Taharka. He's actually mentioned in the Bible. You have an absolute representation of a black person that's mentioned in the Bible during the era of King Hezekiah of Judah. And yes, King Hezekiah was of color himself. Okay, so let that be noted and understood. Now, I wanted to sit there and rehash, if we may, over some of the pictures that we saw. And let's go over, while doing that, thank you for bearing with me with the time. While we're doing that, brothers and sisters, let's look, if we will, at the same picture that we happen to sit there and see, in which Ramses is holding his captives. All the people there, you have a Nubian, Asiatic, and a Libyan. The Nubian is what you will call today the Ethiopian, called Tassiti in the Egyptian. Asiatic, which the Egyptians refer to as the Setu or the Amu, depends on what term they want to use. And then you got the Libyan, which the Egyptians refer to as the people of Tehenu or Tejenu. And so all of them, brothers and sisters, were people of color. Now, unfortunately, in this particular picture, we see some of the black people there not being the most friendly to each other, because then that shows you what's nationalism, because being all the same color then all mean that they were the same people ethnically, culturally, linguistically, and geography. But what it is that the people that we see here are actually, they say, three different categories of people: Libyan, Nubian, and Asiatic, and none of them are Caucasian looking. You see, so the understanding and the premise that some have of, oh, the people must have absolutely had been Caucasian or white, coming from the what they call Asia, is absolutely emphatically incorrect. Okay, now I want to sit there and go over, if we will. I have a book here entitled Shorter Atlas of the Bible. This right here is a picture of some people working making bricks. Now, I'm not going to sit there and indulge into the debate whether or not these were Israelites in the tomb of what they call the tomb of Rech. But what I will sit there and state is that, not taking it away from the topic of the video concerning the color game, is this. Brick use came into Egypt during what they call the Middle Kingdom of Egypt. It was the people that the Egyptians called the Amu or the Amu people that actually brought brick use into Egypt. This right here is very important to let it be noted and understood. Ancient Egyptians did not at first use bricks. When you look at even the pyramids of what they call the Old Kingdom of like Khufu and so forth and so on, they use stones. Now, whereas you look at the mud brick pyramids of Amenhotep, Amenemhat, not Amenhotep, pardon me, Amenemhat the third and Senusret and all of them of Dynasty 12 and what was going on in Dynasty 13, what they refer to as the Middle Kingdom of Egypt, that's when brick use came into use. Now, anybody familiar with Egyptian history, you know at the same time in what they call the Middle Kingdom of Egypt, ending off with the era of Mentuhotep III, that's when you had it to where right before the era of Amenemhat the first came into the throne, you had already Asiatics in the land of Egypt. So this is why Amenemhat the first of Dynasty 12 built what they call the Walls of the Prince. We went over that in another video entitled Hebrews/Hyksos Part 1, also on YouTube, that I did. Blessed be the Father. But that's not the subject matter with that. Just wanted to sit there and show that these are some of the people who would have been the Asiatics. Now, the Bible is fair and that the Bible does speak about a mixed multitude leaving out with the children of Israel when they were delivered from their captivity out of the land of Egypt. So the Egyptians were not only oppressing the people that we know and understand as the Israelites during that particular time as well. Now, how do we sit there and assume, quote unquote, that these people here are being enslaved? Look at the gentleman sitting there as if he has nothing else to do while everyone else there is actually putting their hands to the task and then looking like something in the sand as if he's ready to hit somebody if they don't, as the Bible says, make their quota of bricks. Okay, now, one of the things to sit there and point, that's in Bible in Exodus chapter 5, by the way. Wanted to get into another particular subject, if we will. I have a book here. This is popularly used by Israelites. It's called the Zondervan Compact Bible Dictionary. Now, I want to sit there and go in this. Let me show the picture. I want to sit there and go into this book right here, Zondervan Compact Bible Dictionary. Now, see the page turned here and so forth. And I don't mean to sound arrogant. This is what happens when you study. And at the same token, study and don't take care of the books properly. No offense intended to self. But you have those who study, and then you have those who don't study. And I do know that I'm making a video that's going to be posted online, and this is on YouTube. But at the same token, you cannot learn fully by just watching the video. I'm showing the sources, I'm showing the books, I'm giving the references and where I'm getting my material from to do the presentation. It's up to you, my brother or sister, ladies and gentlemen, to go out and do the research yourself too. Because just as I did it, and it's not to sound haughty, just as I did it, you can do it as well, if you care to. If you don't care to, then you don't care to. But at the same token, to let it be noted and understood emphatically and exactly what we're talking about, to put history in its proper context, unbiased, okay? Now, in this book here, entitled Zondervan Compact Bible Dictionary, on page 510, under the definition of ruddy, we see this. Ruddy, a word used to refer to a red or fair complexion, in contrast to the dark skin of the Hebrews. Now, I want to sit there and explain what we've just read. You had it to where in the Bible, Edom, the son of Isaac, was called ruddy. David was called ruddy when you go to 1 Samuel chapter 16. When you go to the book of Lamentations in the Bible, it speaks about the people being ruddy. And it distinctly says what? In this particular Bible dictionary, a word used to refer to a red or fair complexion, in contrast, meaning indifference, to the dark skin of the Hebrews. Now, I want to sit there and show exactly what I had just read, so that way people won't think I'm reading it, I'm just making things up. A word used to refer to a red or fair complexion, in contrast to the dark skin of the Hebrews. See? Then you got it on page 510. In this same book, the Zondervan Compact Bible Dictionary. Now, we already read in part one of this video entitled The Color Game, how the historian Tacitus stated that the people in his day and time thought that the people of the Jews, the Hebrews, the tribe of Judah, the Judeans, as the people like Trojan and later on Hagian referred to it, or the Judean people, which they changed the name of Jerusalem from Yerushalayim to the place called Isla Capitolina and dedicated that to the Roman god Jupiter, and changed the name what was called Judah/Israel to Palestine, just to try to eliminate the understanding of Israel ever being in here. That was the goal of Hadrian, the Roman emperor. May he rest not in peace. Now, the next thing to sit there and get into, brothers and sisters, is the fact that this book distinctly right here shows, it says what? In contrast to the dark skin of the Hebrews. So what dark skin are we talking about of the Hebrews? Because we already read, not to be redundant, that the people in the time of the Romans thought the people of Judea came what? From Ethiops or Ethiopia. And we showed even a picture as we see here. This here's an Ethiopian man, Taharka. He ruled in Egypt, but he was not a native Egyptian. He ruled in Dynasty 25 of Egypt. And he's also mentioned in the Bible. So the Bible doesn't have what the Jewish scribes later on make up this coined term of him being cursed with being black, and he told a lie so his lips became big. That right there is not biblically sound. You understand? So with all of that, I want to sit there and conclude giving honor and praise unto the creator and the maker of heaven and earth. Shalom. May everyone learn from this, and I'm open to constructive criticism. Shalom.